Success doesn't have to be in the form of how much money you make an hour or what your salary is a year or what kind of job you have. What is your job title? Success is making you just something that makes you feel good with yourself. So some people value success in receiving a high school diploma, or someone values success in just raising a great daughter or son, or just being able to provide for their family. So success comes in different ways. My parents were not college educated. My dad was a car salesman for many years in the Harlingen area in Brownsville. And my mother was a secretary, worked in a bank, worked for a nonprofit, because their lack of exposure to things created a barrier for me. So it was certainly different for me to go to college, or even where I work now, where I work with individuals that went to Harvard or Yale and UT and A&M and Ohio State here just in Austin where I work. And I experienced things that I've never done, and I'm so fortunate to hear now that we have interns or students that I run into that are from the Valley, and how cool and how grateful and how things have changed just in the last 40 years, where we have kids from the Valley that are in Hispanic kids, that are and kids that are first generation that are experiencing things that I never got to experience, like going to a college football game or going to a concert. I never got to experience that stuff. And it's really my association. I always associated with people that were positive. I didn't hang out with people that were, that were partiers, wanted to be the last one to leave the bar, wanted to be the first one to be at a party. I had food insecurities. I had money problems, with my parents paying for my college out of their own pocket. I didn't take out a loan. As educators and as leaders, you and I have to encourage everyone that they have options out there. Let me see who you associate yourself with, and I can tell you what kind of person you're going to be.
The Spanish saying, right? Dime con quién andas, te diré con quién eres.
Exactly. And that happens regardless. And even that's in the Bible, that we should avoid puffing ourselves with pride, and we should look at everyone as equal, and we should just be very grateful. I'm always learning. And I think that's always helpful. There's no shame in telling people that you learn every day. You don't know everything, because once you become one of those people that knows everything, then you're going to be very unhappy. And I'll never forget that we were there in the ranches, and we saw people that were picking some of the cabbage that was on the side of the road. And my dad said, 2 generations back, that's what your great grandparents were doing. And I'm sure that while they were bending over, they were thinking, what can I do to make the future generations more successful than we are? And so I think that's what we're trying to do, you and I, is we're trying to see what can we do, not just for our immediate family, but for other young people to be successful. And if it's anything that a college education did and work experience, working at the United States Senate, working for DPS, and then working for the job I have now, one thing that I've realized is being a good listener and evaluating, processing what I've just heard, not to come quick to a conclusion, because that's where a lot of people get in trouble, is when they jump to a conclusion or they say something without thinking. And sometimes that costs them they're not only friends, but their jobs or family.
Sure.
Continue to work hard, continue to love your family, because they're always going to be your support mechanism. And then, of course, be humbled with your success. They're battling school, they're battling social media, then they're battling their parents. Don't let the world crush down on you. Don't let it get so bad that you just can't get out. Just continue to think positive. And you can have all the money in the world and all that, but if you don't have your health, and if you don't have your, if you don't have your friends or your family, it's really for nothing. And so, the pandemic caused that.
Regardless, you're here, you're here sharing your story. You're here giving back. You're here giving advice.
And I'm positive. Again, I'm positive,
Yes. And that's the whole point. Again, circling back to the purpose of the podcast is to, regardless of whatever you go through, there's still light at the end of the tunnel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's no shame in visiting with counselors about anything, or talking to your mentor or your teachers or your parents. So from the outside, you and I look, you're a doctor, I'm a commissioner, we look like we're perfect, but we all have challenges.